Fairy Godmother, Prince Charming. Two villains, same fairy blood, same franchise. One word separates them: iconic. Because Fairy Godmother didn't just play the villain, she defined it. While Prince Charming, he's proof good hair can't fix bad writing. So why did Fairy Godmother become so iconic and Prince Charming didn't? To find out, we need to talk about real evil versus fake evil, the difference between building a legacy and borrowing one.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Before we get there, let's rewind to Shrek 2, the golden age of DreamWorks chaos. Our favorite ogre couple visit Fiona's royal parents. The problem? They expected Prince Charming, not a 7-foot swamp monster. Enter Fairy Godmother, sugar sweet voice, 1,000-watt smile, and the aura of someone who could destroy your credit score with a wink. She offers to help Shrek and Fiona's marriage by turning Shrek human. But this isn't kindness, it's corporate strategy. Behind the sparkle and song is a plan. Replace the ogre with her son, marry him to Fiona, secure the throne. It's not a fairy tale, it's a hostile takeover. When Shrek resists, she doesn't rage, she rebrands. Love potions, emotional blackmail, guilt trips that could make a therapist cry. She bends the story to fit her business model, and she almost wins. Almost. That's power, that's precision, that's pure evil in action. Now jump to Shrek the Third. Prince Charming returns, still haunted by mommy issues and rejection letters from Destiny. But instead of ruling the kingdom, he books a theater. He stages a coup as a musical.
Prepare, foul beast! Your time is done!
That's not villainy, that's dinner theater. He kidnaps the princess, monologues about fate, and then gets crushed by a prop tower. Poetic justice? Maybe, but mostly it's proof no amount of choreography can replace competence. Fairy Godmother commands the stage. Prince Charming rents it. Now let's jump into something interesting. The villain's introduction tells you everything you need to know. Fairy Godmother arrives in a cloud of sparkles, all smiles and warmth. But if you're paying attention, the red flags are immediate. The way she talks to King Harold isn't a request, it's a threat wrapped in silk. She's not asking for a favor, she's collecting a debt. Within 60 seconds of screen time, we understand exactly who she is. A loan shark in a ball gown. Now Prince Charming, he bursts into that tower with flowing hair, perfect teeth, and a script he's clearly rehearsed in the mirror. Fair maiden, I'm here to save you, except there's no one there to save. His entire introduction is him performing heroism for an empty room. He's not evil yet, he's not even competent yet. He's just pathetic. A man so committed to the performance that he doesn't notice there's no audience. The contrast is everything. Fairy Godmother owns her calculated evil from frame one. She knows what she wants. She knows how to get it. Prince Charming, on the other hand, is trying to be a hero of his own story, but not realizing he's the punchline. And this matters because drive separates a real villain from a wannabe. Fairy Godmother has drive. She moves the pieces whilst Charming's got mummy issues. That's the difference between a villain you fear and a villain you laugh at. So let's dig into what these two want, because motivation is the engine of villainy. Fairy Godmother runs a potion factory. She controls the narrative of happily ever after, and she's positioned herself as the gatekeeper of every fairy tale ending in Far, Far Away. She turned King Harold from a frog into a king, and now she owns him. That's not just magic, that's leverage. She wants her son on the throne not because she loves him, but because it's the final piece of her dynasty. A godmother ruling through a king, that's systematic control. And then there's Prince Charming, whose entire motivation can be summed up in a few words. It's supposed to be mine! That's it. The whole thing. He didn't work for it. He didn't earn it. He just expects it. Because once upon a time, someone told him he was Prince Charming. And therefore, he deserves Princess Fiona, the throne, the kingdom, the whole package. The key difference is that his mother created the system. Prince Charming just expects to inherit it. Now let's talk about methods, because this is where the competence gap becomes equivalent to the Great Canyon. Fairy Godmother weaponizes kindness. She doesn't threaten Harold directly, she reminds him of all she's done for him, then lets the guilt do the work. The threat is in the subtext, and that's what makes it terrifying. Every happily ever after in Far Away goes through her. She's cornered the market on happiness itself. And when she needs to close a deal, she manipulates. She convinces Shrek that Fiona would be better off without him. That's mastery level villainy right there. Meanwhile, Prince Charming's entire method is posing. Literally. Hair flips, dramatic gestures. In Shrek 2, his big threatening moment is storming into the castle. In Shrek 3, he stages a coup, which, okay, that's villain behavior, but how does he do it? Through a play. He's literally performing villainy for an audience instead of just being a villain. Even his execution plan for Shrek is a scripted show with props and lighting cues. Here's the thing. Fairy Godmother doesn't need a stage because the entire kingdom is her stage. She controls the narrative without anyone realizing they're in a narrative. Prince Charming needs literal spotlights and applause breaks because without an audience telling him he's important, he doesn't know who he is. Let's talk about power dynamics, because nothing reveals a villain's true nature like how they treat the people around them. Fairy Godmother owns King Harold through debt and guilt. She controls the kingdom's entire perception of what happily ever after means. Everyone in her orbit is a tool, a transaction, or an obstacle, even her own son. Because here's the thing about their friendship. It's not love, it's investment. She doesn't want Charming to be happy. She wants him to be king so she can have power through him. In her eyes, he's her puppet, and the tragedy is that he doesn't even realize it. When things go wrong in Shrek 2, the prince doesn't have a backup plan. He runs to mommy. In Shrek 3, even after she's dead, he's still trying to fulfill her plan, not his own. I mean, even the villain army he assembles barely respects him. The princess he captures mocks him. Even the kingdom he conquers doesn't take him seriously. Fairy Godmother is terrifying because she's always in control of herself, of others, of the entire situation. Prince Charming is pathetic because he's never been in control of anything, not even his own ambitions. And that's why one of them became an iconic villain, while the other became a meme about good hair. Alright, let's get specific now, because the true test of any villain is in their moment. Those scenes where you should feel fear, tension, maybe even grudging respect for their competence. There's the moment in the carriage where she threatens Harold. She doesn't raise her voice, she just leans in and reminds him that his entire life exists because of her, and she can take it away. The terror on Harold's face says it all. Then there's the factory, a massive industrial complex where beauty and happiness are manufactured on an assembly line, complete with exploited workers and a corporate monopoly. Systematic evil at its finest. Every single one of these moments works because Fairy Godmother is in complete control. She makes things happen. Now let's talk about Prince Charming's villain moments. His introduction is him rescuing an empty tower, strike one. His big confrontation with Shrek? He shows up late to the party and looks confused, strike two. In Shrek the Third, he gets a theatrical production, his big villain moment, and what does he do? He delivers monologues to a captive audience who are literally rolling their eyes. Even his own army looks bored. His most threatening scene is when he's about to execute Shrek on stage. And
Prepare, foul beast! Your time is done!
And even that gets upstaged by Shrek's return. The princess breaking free and Charming's own tower literally crushing his moment. The difference is that when Fairy Godmother enters a scene, the stakes go up. When Prince Charming enters a scene, the comedy goes up. And that's not what you want from your villain unless you're writing a parody. Okay, I know what you're thinking. If a Fairy Godmother is this almighty, how come she died? Well, every great villain has a fatal flaw, something that ultimately leads to their downfall. But here's the thing, a good fatal flaw is a strength taken too far. A bad fatal flaw is just a flaw with no strength to begin with. Let's start with Fairy Godmother. Her fatal flaw is control. She's obsessed with controlling every piece on the board, and she won't accept when a piece moves on its own. When Shrek and Fiona's true love breaks through her carefully constructed plan, she doesn't retreat. She tries to force the narrative back into place with raw magical power. And that obsession with control becomes her literal downfall. When she fires that magical blast at Shrek, Harold jumps in front of it. The spell reflects off his armor and hits her instead. She's killed by her own magic, the very system of control she spent her life building. It's poetic and tragic. It's the perfect end for a villain whose strength was her control, right up until it wasn't. That's a fatal flaw done right. Her ambition and control made her powerful, and that same ambition and control destroyed her. Now Prince Charming, his fatal flaw is delusion. He genuinely believes he's the hero of this story. He believes he deserves everything simply because he's Prince Charming. And his downfall came when he got crushed by a tower. The very tower he thought would be his grand stage for executing Shrek becomes his literal grave. He's so committed to the performance, so deluded by his own narrative that he doesn't see the danger until it's falling on top of him. And that's the problem. His flaw was never a strength. He was always delusional. He was always entitled. Fairy Godmother's death is memorable.
I am the rightful king of far, far away. And I promise you this, Mother.
People remember the gasp, the shock, the bubble pop exit. It's an iconic villain death. Prince Charming's defeat is memorable only because of how unmemorable it is. People remember him as that guy with the hair who got crushed by a tower. And in the world of animated villains, that's the difference between being remembered for 20 years and being forgotten the moment the credits roll. So what's the takeaway here? What can writers, storytellers, and creators learn from the tale of two villains, one who succeeded and one who failed? Fairy Godmother succeeds because she is real evil with crystal clear goals. She wants power, control, and a dynasty. Every action she takes moves her towards that goal. She doesn't need a redemption arc, and the story doesn't try to give her one. She's evil, she knows she's evil, and she's excellent at it. There's no tragic backstory, no maybe she has a point. She's just a fantastic villain doing villainy things. Jennifer Saunders' performance is sharp, controlled, and dripping with false sweetness. The character design screams corporate villain in a fairy tale costume. Every element works together to create a cohesive, threatening presence. Prince Charming fails because he's fake evil due to no substance. He's playing the victim because that's what the script says, but there's nothing underneath the performance. He's fundamentally incompetent and dependent. He can't accomplish anything without his mother. Even his big coup in Shrek 3 falls apart the moment someone challenges him. The story can't decide if he's a villain or a victim. The movie doesn't know, and that ambiguity kills any chance he had of being effective. Prince Charming only matters because his mother made him matter. Remove Fairy Godmother from the equation, and Charming is just some guy with nice hair and unearned confidence. And his threat level never matches his ambition. He wants to be taken seriously, but the narrative constantly undercuts him. He's the villain equivalent of someone confidently giving the wrong answer. The lesson is crystal clear. If you're going to write an iconic villain, give them drive, competence, and commitment to their evil. Give them goals that make sense and methods that work. Make them a genuine obstacle that your heroes must overcome, not a nuisance that removes itself. Don't give us someone who talks about being threatening but never actually is threatening. Fairy Godmother understood that true villainy isn't about being the loudest or the prettiest. It's about being the smartest person in the room who's willing to burn it down if it means getting what she wants. Prince Charming couldn't even burn down a room if someone handed him a lit match and an instruction manual. And that is why Fairy Godmother remains one of DreamWorks' most iconic villains, while Prince Charming remains one of DreamWorks' most iconic haircuts. One understood the assignment, the other was too busy checking his reflection to even read it. Let me know in the comments, what's your favorite Fairy Godmother moment? Or better yet, can you think of any moment where Prince Charming was threatening? Because I'll be honest, I'm coming up empty.